welcome to the Sankofa Heritage Garden, which can be found within the Colonial Garden here in Williamsburg, across from the Bruton Parish Church. So the plants that we have decided to put in the Sankofa Heritage Garden this year are plants that we know come from the Rich Neck Plantation site, which is about 2.5 to 3 miles from here. Archaeologists unearthed some of the subfloor pits and found seeds and evidence, pollen, of what plants were grown there for the enslaved people. And we've also put in any plant that was mentioned by travelers in the 18th century. So they mentioned simlin squash, okra. Our grains are millet and sorghum. So our sorghum hasn't tasseled yet to have the grain. There's cowpeas growing up the stalk, so that's a technique where everything's planted on a hill, and then the sorghum is what holds the cowpeas up, and then the cowpeas have something to grab onto, so you don't have to build any kind of structure. They're not given a lot of room. These gardens are very small. The soil sometimes is not very good. It's used up land, or it's behind their quarters out on a plantation. So these are people who are, after a long day in the field, are tending their gardens, we think, probably at night and also by moonlight. So these torches that you see in the garden, those are pine, dead pine, and when they're fired up, the pitch catches, and that becomes a source of light at nighttime.
You think of that. You have toiled for the day for somebody else, and you don't have enough time to do something for yourself. So they're smart, they're common sense intelligent. They burn wood, so they know where the pine trees are out there in the forest, and they know everywhere that there's a branch on a tree, there's a knotty resinous pitch, and they know how to get those knots, bring those stakes to the ground here, poke them in the ground, put them in a fire, and they can work out here in their gardens anytime they need to do what they need to do.
One of the important things in a garden such as this is enslaved people installed objects into their garden which had symbolic meaning and religious belief to them.
The thing about the power items, objects, is to let people know that no matter how we look at history, how we look at culture, how we look at people, people come here with their culture intact. They come here, as we can say, often empty-handed, but people don't come here empty-headed. So they bring their beliefs, what helped them to become their own selves, what kept them strong, what they could always hold on to no matter what was happening in their world. These things would guide them and keep them people all their lives. That's rich.
Bones are thought to be speaking of the ancestors, and they are asking their ancestors to please protect the food and protect the gardeners so that they may harvest the food and live a healthier and better life. The other things in there are elements of nature, so we have a feather for air, shell for water, and a piece of iron that speaks of fire, so elements of nature which are important to their culture. The gourd hanging upside down like that, that is a house of a good spirit. If something evil comes along, it grabs that evil, pushes it down into the gourd so it does not do harm to the food nor the people in the garden.
To stand in a garden like this and to know that we are growing food that sustain these people, even if it was the worst little plot of dirt, a piece of ground like this that they could put everything in to feed themselves, to have gatherings with their family after a long day of laboring for somebody else. These little plots of ground, it meant the world to them. And that's why these gardens are important in what we're teaching at Williamsburg.